Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Simon and we are the Whales of Wall Street. Today I'm introducing IOTA, IOTA on the exchange. We'll go through why I'm so excited about this project. It's one that I invest in personally, and it's also an AI/IoT project, which, as you know from my previous intro videos and general aspect of working life, AI is partially my thing. So let's go into a couple of items before we introduce the project. To get IOTA, you can find it on Binance, Bitfinex, and I don't even know how to say it. I never get this right. Huobi. Someone correct me in the comments. Do me a favor for the next video. Various pairings, predominantly around USDT, BUSD if you're on Binance, and vice versa on other platforms as well, including Ethereum and BTC. So we've covered that. The price point at the moment, which we'll go into the chart in a bit more detail towards the end of this video, is currently trading, as we're recording, around the $1.51 mark. So we'll look at some percentage growth that we've seen over the months and certainly this year, which has been fantastic. But I'm really excited about this project, not just for this year, but the times to come in the years to come, sorry. So this one, for me, as I've mentioned, being related to AI and IoT, I think it's super special, and I can hopefully give you some encouragement in your mind as to why AI and IoT is very important in tomorrow's world. So let's take a look at this project. I'm just going to scroll down a bit because it's got one of those awesome backgrounds that move, but that's not a great thing for the processor within my laptop, so apologies if it looks a bit funky when you're watching this back. But there's loads of applications around IoT and AI, which I've explained on a couple of different videos, like we've done for IoTX and Fetch AI, FET as well. And we will have one dropping of Matrix AI towards the end of this week, which has been a quite popular demand from our comment sections from the last couple of weeks. So we'll be happy to get that one out of the way. That's another one that I hold as well. So let's just go through a couple of things before we go into this in more detail. So my aspect of IoT and AI, this is something that's been something I've been heavily involved in over the last few years with my work, and just general motivation of something that I have an enthusiasm and passion for, and also kind of like a vision of where we're going with this. And as explained in previous videos, the whole IoT spectrum, so those that don't know, IoT stands for Internet of Things. This is basically anything and everything that can connect to the internet. So if you think about your smartphone, you can think about things nowadays like kettles, washing machines, security cameras, even cars now, obviously through SIM card aspects, or certainly Wi-Fi or GPS, and certainly Starlink satellites that are now up in our sky, something like 80,000 of them by the end of this year. So it's all around us, okay? So it's not just about routers and Wi-Fi routers, it's about anything and everything that connects to the internet on a multi-scale, okay? So what does that mean? It means something like, let me just bring it down to earth for a second. So in your home, let's say you've got a security camera and you've got geofencing application within the app that you've got for that security camera. It knows when you're about to nearly be home. So it starts thinking, okay, well, there's going to be motion, let's turn the lights on. And that's when things like Alexa and Google Assistant are big, obviously, devices that help with the voice control and everything like that, but they're also part of an ecosystem that allows automation. And the way that works is on the scale of IoT, using the whole kind of Wi-Fi aspect to talk to each other, okay? So it's almost like a machine-to-machine learning aspect, but not quite decentralized and not quite to the level that blockchain can bring it to, okay? So what I mean by that is right now you're sort of relying on an infrastructure within your home where, like, a camera, for example, needs to, or say a smart bulb needs to have that camera operating on the system in order for it to go, is someone home yet? You know, based on the motion detection. But a decentralized system and a blockchain system basically means that if a camera doesn't pick something up, but the geofencing does, and your application for your phone and the internet and everything around in your home picks up, it can divert past that camera and do what it needs to do. So that's the whole kind of aspect of when we talk about blockchain, when it sort of misses potential chains or diversification around certain scenarios. That's where the machine-to-machine learning comes from. So that's how it kind of builds that decentralized blockchain aspect to what we already have with an IoT application. The AI aspect comes from the learning aspect, okay? So the Internet of Things is kind of like the application, of what it does to work. The AI is what makes it learn. Okay, so this could be things like, Simon gets home at this time every night or every other night. We now know what we need to do without having to ask him. If there's, for example, I'm on the motorway, the good old M25 in the UK here. I'm driving down in my automatic car, which is connected to the internet, and it says, there's traffic ahead. Okay, we're stuck. I don't know why it's traffic if it's automatic cars. I mean, maybe one's gone loopy and crashed into something, whatever the reason is. But that internet aspect will then tell my home, Simon's going to be 20 minutes late, and it will keep it updated in real time. It will know, okay, we're not going to turn the kettle on right now. We don't need to turn the lights on, save energy. Don't need to put the heating on yet. That also. So that's kind of trying to like a very, very basic sort of ideas and ideology around what that application is. And the reason I'm telling you that fundamental aspect is to give you an indication of what IOTA is doing. Very similar to other projects that we mentioned, like I mentioned, FET and IOTX. This one I feel is like almost like a big complete solution, and I love what it's trying to do in the smart city application. So IOTA is obviously the tokenomics used on the chain itself to ensure the encouragement and development of the program to allow the machine learning application, but more importantly as well at this stage, the human to machine learning, because at the moment humans are still teaching this mechanism of machine and AI all the fundamental principles, the laws, physics and everything like this, etc., to a point where in the future, and I know Elon Musk sounds like a nutter sometimes, but when he was saying in about maybe 20, 30, 50 years time, robotics will take over humans, I'm fully behind him, because AI is what will take over. Okay, it will start getting to a point where there will be a transition of the human to machine mechanism in your mind. And that means that the machines start knowing more than you. They know what to do before you know. And that application, just think about the application, that it knows what to do when you don't know, or certainly knows way before you do. Keep that principle in mind before I go on to some of the other case studies and things like this in this particular project, because then it will all make sense. So eventually machines will learn so much they don't need our input anymore, and they'll learn so much more that when they start building things and doing things and enhancing things and learning things better than us, that's when it becomes a bit tricky, because then they go, do we actually need these humans? Can we use these humans for something else? Or do we just become completely obsolete and just get left to it? This is obviously one of the major key aspects of the economy right now, is that a lot of jobs over the last 10-15 years have been lost to robotics, and now you can think in the next 5-10 years how AI and IoT application will continue to improve and learn by itself eventually. What are we doing as humanity? So there's an argument to say you're investing in these kind of companies, whether it be in stocks or in terms of crypto here, we're maybe creating our own demise. But you can't really stop the inevitable. It's going to happen, okay? So at the moment, all we can do is depend on the fact that they still need us humans, okay? So let's go into the IOTA application. So we got the IOTA tokenomics. Now the beauty of this, right, is that there are no blocks created with IOTA on their blockchain. It's quite phenomenal. And the way they do that, there's no fees, there's no miners, there's staking, which obviously helps with the development of the chain. But the reason they have no fees and no blocks is because they're using the IOTA tokenomics here to overcome the cost and scalability by using that essential transaction data of IOTA when people are using it on the chain or using it as a token to utilize in the real world. And that transaction is basically validated or validates two other transactions. So it kind of goes around in this big looping circle to maintain itself. Now, that aspect of machine learning is built essentially within what they've built here in their chain, which I find is absolutely incredible. So it's overcoming some limitations that blockchain have. So I think this is quite an important part as we look further into these projects. What do they deal with? They deal with pretty much every application possible, from smart cities, healthcare, education, autonomous vehicles, drones, everything you can possibly think of, as I mentioned, that involves IoT. Why is this interesting? Why is this important to understand? Because pretty much anything and everything will become integrated into blockchain eventually. We've seen like many amazing projects out there, like VeChain, for example, for supply chain, and many other aspects of automation and this, that, and the other. So bear with me. I know this is going to be maybe a slightly longer video than usual, but I'm hoping that you find it really interesting and understand the concept of this. Forget it as a token, really believe in what IOTA is about, okay? So, for example, here on this side here, mobility, automotive, why is that important? Well, because more and more cars eventually are going to be driving themselves. More and more cars are going to be on an ecosystem of IoT and smart grid, to the point, let's say, for example, you've booked a hotel for work. In fact, not even booked a hotel, because that's done for you as well in the near future. So your company has gone, Simon, we need you over here to have this meeting. They put it in the smart contract on the chain as a scheduled item. What happens then? Immediately, within a few seconds, the whole transactional data of tokenomics, not just with IOTA and other cryptos, it's booked everything for you. It's booked your hotel. It's booked maybe your flights. It's booked your transportation. Anything and everything you possibly think of. And from your purchasing knowledge and aspects of data, like it's noticed that you haven't perhaps bought toothpaste in time or this, that, and the other, and it will go and order those. So by the time, like maybe 2 days down the line, you're sat there and you're going, oh, well, I've packed my suitcase, because maybe a machine doesn't do that quite yet, and everything's hit. Your taxi arrives by itself. It takes you automatically, with no driver in it, to your destination. It's already paid for because of the tokenomics, because of the automation of the transactional system, smart contracts, know your customer, all of this application of the blockchain. You're then arriving at your hotel. You're arriving at the airport. All of this stuff's integrated. So while you're on your car journey, you could be doing some work or whatever, if there's any work to do at this point, who knows? And that's kind of one aspect of it. The deliveries aspect is that, okay, well, you haven't got toothpaste ordered, fine. A drone delivers it in the same day. How does it know that? Because the drone is integrated with a system that's also integrated with, say, Amazon, for example, and it's already integrated. The transaction has done everything for you, and it just arrives. All of these miniature applications are already in place. Things like subscribe and save. Obviously, you've put that in manually. That's a manual aspect to chop and change. But eventually, that's all going to be data-driven, AI-driven, artificial intelligence, to know where and when you need things. You could maybe not be at home. You could be at a train station, and that drone knows that you're going to be there in about an hour's time, so it's going to go and deliver that package for you. So you've got it for your train journey. These are sorts of things in terms of mobility. Also, things about traffic. So traffic control, fees of transportation like taxis. So as we just mentioned, all this tokenomics and all this built on things like that. This is amazing, okay? Pay autonomously for parking. I never really thought about that. You just turn up in the car park and it pays it for you. It's almost like when you go into like Westfield in London or the shopping centres and you've got the smart parking, where obviously the visual sensor picks up your reg and it knows that you've signed up on the website before to do auto parking. Well, forget all of that. There's no need for that anymore, because it just knows that you're there. And it does it. And then, of course, it will charge your car for you. It will know when to stop charging your car, perhaps even contactless charging by then. Tolls, all of this cool stuff. What I thought was really interesting is this application of, if you have too much battery in your system, and it's similar to like process we've seen on blockchain where using GPU power, your computer, you can peer-to-peer. If you're not using all your processing power of the computer, you can sell your space, you can sell your energy or processing power to someone else to use. It's a whole efficient ecosystem. It's the same with battery powers in cars. They're going to move into an application of peer-to-peer where, let's say, you've got 90% battery, but they know you're not going to need this for a couple of weeks, we can recharge you or whatever. They'll go and sell your system on the grid, similar to what we do with like solar panels and things like that, like this at the moment, back onto the grid. And just sharing. Environmental impacts are fantastic. Climate reduction and things like that. It's absolutely incredible. And that's just the mobility, guys. Health is absolutely phenomenal. I've talked about Solve Care, for example, a fantastic project. All healthcare is going digital. More importantly, we're going to have sensors inside us. If you don't believe me, go and check out the patents that Microsoft are working on, that's going through governments at the moment. Biometric payments with Visa. All these things, all these sensors are coming, whether you like it or not, to benefit the system. And because we're now in a very interesting state of not necessarily control, but certainly a transitional period, people will become more acceptable to it, because we're used to already now seeing things like QR codes and passports and this thing. It's all part of the plan. Agenda 30, Davos, WEF, World Economic Forum, it's all part of the plan. AI, artificial intelligence, automation to increase the efficiency of the economy and make things quicker, safer, sustainable, and also environmentally friendly as well. So healthcare, what does this mean? It means that, for example, with your sensor, if you've got a heart condition, for example, maybe you're going to have a heart attack next week. Well, you wouldn't know that until it happens, right? Or you might see some symptoms building up. Forget that. The sensor inside you will go, Simon, you need to sit still. Why don't you sit still? Your little speaker comes up in your home. Simon, you need to sit down. What? You talking to me? Yeah, you need to sit down. Why don't you sit down? Because you're going to have a heart attack in a week. Right, what do you mean? Okay, well, don't worry. The ambulance is on its way. It's going to pick you up, going to do the operation. It knows all the algorithms of your DNA and the infrastructure of your body. It knows where to operate, what you're susceptible to medications and things like that. So by the time you sat there, the ambulance arrives in five minutes time. There's no one there. You go and help yourself into the ambulance, put yourself into the pod, takes you in it. You might even have the operation on the way, and then have all the algorithms and everything dealt with. When you get to hospital, all the analysis done, the operation's done within a few seconds, and you're back home again. That's kind of a healthcare aspect of IoT and AI. The Internet of Things is the application of knowing that something's wrong with you, automatically creating the infrastructure of what needs to be done throughout your day to make sure that you're continuing to be safe and healthy, get what needs to be done to you, and put you back where you came from. So there's that aspect as well. But more importantly as well, from the smart contract aspect, is that whole aspect of data, privacy, change of data. So this allows people to not have any fraudulent health data, avoiding things like potential benefits when people aren't actually ill or disabled or something. Nothing can be manipulated or changed, or no fraudulent activity, because it's a smart contract application on blockchain. So there's kind of some aspects on there. Paying for medical care through tokenomics. So you've gone to the doctor, let's say we're in a private medical healthcare system, because we're now in a two-tier society, basic universal income versus the rich people, and the tokenomics is already paid for all your medical care and everything like that through your integration of your wallets. Do you see what I mean? Or you're going for a routine appointment, whether it be dentist, doctor, everything's booked for you, transportation, timings, all of this, the analysis data, then put into your identity, essentially your identity chip or your identity key on your blockchain. Anything and everything you do, transactional, healthcare, whatever it is, buying, selling, will all be tracked, traced, and integrated within your smart contract application. It's absolutely phenomenal. This is just a few items, guys. Digital IDs, industrial IT, of course, we mentioned about supply chain, so automatically ordering things, knowing how to create sustainability within transportation, especially with shipping, by hybrid and gas and things like this. This is all going to be part of one ecosystem. And you ever thought like smart grid, smart AI? Smart AI and the smart grid was never based on blockchain, but it certainly is going to be now, because blockchain makes it even 100 times more applicable, So there's loads of projects that IOTA can be dealt with. All of these things about wanting to improve your community, the transportation links, everything like this will all be part of the same network. Whether you like it or not, you'll all be connected, your homes will be connected, everything will be connected to the point where you don't need to do anything. It will just automatically happen, it will learn by itself, and hopefully everything will become so efficient that humans won't need to work anymore, and we'll go and explore different worlds or something. Who knows what we'll do. I really have no idea what humans will do in 50 years time. It'd be incredible to see this development. Hopefully I'll live long enough to see that. But there's loads of other things as well. Of course, you've got IOTA, you can stake. I really like this part of their website, the roadmap, so you can really delve into what they're doing. But not only just that, you can actually click on these things and go, okay, 8 goals upcoming, brilliant, what is that? Find out what's in development, consensus, timestamps, etc. Loads of different dev nets, mainnet improvements, etc. So I think this is really cool. I love this about projects, knowing what's ahead and planning as well. Your opportunity to invest, of course, So there's that as well. They do loads of grant research programs to help future development of their own chain, but also others to utilize their AI machine infrastructure and technology for their own applications and projects and companies. which I think is fantastic. It's always good to share research and opportunity. Research is fantastic. I've read a couple of them. Go and check them out. Academic papers, absolutely phenomenal. If I didn't bore you to death, hopefully you can have some time to read those and find out even more. Get your mind around this insanity that is about to change our world. Tangle, third generation. So as I mentioned, blockchain is very sort of singular at the moment. Tangle allows you to operate on multiple chains, multiple ecosystems, multiple grids to ensure a full-on infrastructure of automation, AI, and IoT application. One thing breaks, one thing stops, doesn't matter. It will just divert to something else, work its way around, and get to the solution that it needs to get to. Really, really cool. And the research applications are fantastic. Go and check these guys out. This guy here, Robert Shulton, go and check him out on LinkedIn. These guys are so clever. Like, I'm so what would be the word, maybe underwhelmed of like how amazing these minds are and how much they're going to change the world. You think of all these politicians and stuff, and they're all puppets basically. They speak on behalf of the World Economic Forum and Agenda 30 and all this. They're just spokespeople. These are the true innovators. These are the true people that are going to take us to another level with people's money like Elon Musk, etc. So as I mentioned, the human and machine economics, this is the process we're into right now before machine-to-machine learning takes full responsibility, and then we start becoming potentially obsolete from working aspects and this, that, and the other. So keep an eye out for these developments and get involved in these projects before they blow up in a few years' time, that's for sure. But more importantly, get involved in projects that are going to be the future, okay? No nonsense coins here. This is true potential business, and I'm speaking from the heart here. And the reason I'm speaking from the heart is because I have a massive passion for my work. I do marketing, I work in AI, IoT sector. I know its potential, and when I heard about blockchain originally and I thought piecing this together, I was like, wow, this is how it's all going to happen. When you see the films like I, Robot and you think, oh, this is really cool, how are they going to manage all this? This is the answer. So this is going to be absolutely phenomenal. Let's go into the chart, guys. Hopefully you learned a bit more about IOTA and the application of AI and IoT. Before we do, please make sure you like this video, found informative. Subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already, and press that notification bell. I'm going to try and keep this under a few minutes, but I wanted to pinpoint a key aspect here, and I'll put in the title to emphasize this. By 2025, everyone, by 2025, the estimated revenue application of IoT and AI will be 330 billion, I think, but by 2030, $1.5 trillion worth by 2030. That's unbelievable. Also, the total economic impact by 2025, so this isn't saying like the revenue generated from IoT itself. This is the application of anything and everything connected to IoT and using IoT technology to create efficiency, economic power, etc., etc. The impact will be the equivalent of $11.1 trillion by 2025. Let that sink in. And now you might realize why I'm so bullish on these AI and IoT projects, because there is a phenomenal amount of money coming our way in these sectors, okay? Pay attention. Okay, this isn't just a nonsense video. We're not doing this just for fun. We're doing it so hopefully people learn things and really appreciate the aspect of what is to come for humanity and what is to come as a potential for investment, and make positive outcomes from these developments. The chart, guys, now we've gone through those aspects of values in revenue potentials. We're going to look at IOTA as general. So very, very important aspects here. Performance-wise, monthly, 28% up on the month, 41% up 3 monthly, year-to-date 400%. It's a really, really healthy project, this one. And in fact, I'm going to point this out, by the way. Out of all the crypto assets that had that major drop, obviously down leading towards 21st July, this one didn't really have a gigantic drop development. So I thought it was quite interesting. Obviously, there's a lot of bullish momentum behind the project and a lot of trust and confidence, not just short term, but more importantly, long term. Okay, so when you're investing in these projects, you might have a short term strategy, but just please, honestly, this is not financial advice, but please honestly think about the longevity of this project. you could be investing in this now, and in 5-10 years time, we're talking about these revenue numbers being thrown about in IoT. This is where it really matters. Okay, so we're not going to full chart analysis on this video because we'll do that in another video. I just wanted to introduce the project, see where its current status is, and look at this bullish momentum. In fact, I tell you what, the only thing I will do for you guys is just monitor from here. So this point here, 21st July, all the way up to here, fantastic, 263% increase. We've had a bit of a drop down here. That's probably anticipated from, we had the Bitcoin nonsense day, of course, that pulled that down a bit, and just general bearish momentum at the moment across the markets in general. So we're not going to full analysis here, but I just wanted to show you where we are. Let's give it a few days, let all this information soak in. You might have to watch this video twice, who knows. Maybe I've talked gibberish and you don't understand what I talk about. That's fine as well. Let us know in the comments below what you think of this project now I've gone through it. Also, if you're holding it already, more importantly, and what do you think about AI and IoT sectors? And do check out the other videos that we've done, Fetch AI, IoTX, and I'm looking forward to dropping the Matrix AI one in a few days time as well. I think this is a phenomenal sector. It's a phenomenal project. I love IOTX, I love Fetch AI, Matrix AI is phenomenal as well, but IOTA for me at the moment is like a gem already in the making. It's already on its way, as are the others as well, of course. But this one feels so good. Do you know what I mean? So we will review this in a few days' time on the price charts and where we think there's buy opportunities, sell opportunities, etc., and just general movements across the board across this year. But guys, I'm going to wrap this up there. Sorry I've taken up a bit more of your time than I thought I would. Hopefully you're still with us. But please do let us know if you're holding IOTA, what you think of the project, and what do you think about the sector in the years to come. Let me know what you think. I'm really interested. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel for those that have subscribed already, because we've hit over 1,000. We're flying almost already towards 2,000. I'm so happy. And thank you so much for engaging and being part of this community. I hope you're enjoying it. And we will see you guys and IOTA on the moon. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.